So check out Genesis 8:22. But they'll turn it into saying carbon emissions are a poison and not beneficial to the planet. And by the way, they are. And by the way, the last volcano that erupted put out more carbon emissions than we could ever dream of putting out as a human being in the human race. So what do they talk? How do they account for volcanoes or something like that? Because that just spews out all kinds of carbon emissions. It's a joke. It's a hoax. And my point is, we are seeing the same thing with this coronavirus. The coronavirus is real, but it's overblown. And now they're doing the same kind of thing, a global problem. We got to attack it globally. What they're going to do is use these crises as a means to implement imperialism or globalism into our lives. So now let's talk about some connections. I've talked about in previous episodes about Bill Gates. And Bill Gates, as you know, is trying to be this medical dictator. And obviously, Bill Gates loves eugenics, by the way. Loves globalism, all this other stuff, right? And he's pushing forced vaccinations with an implanted chip and partnering with ID 2020. And we talked about that, so I'm not going to go over that. But did you know that Bill Gates and Dr. Fauci are tied together? The National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, which is a division of the National Institute of Health, the director is Dr. Fauci, by the way. Dr. Fauci has received $100 million in funds from the Bill Gates Foundation back in October of 2019. Here's Dr. Fauci, by the way, hanging out with Bill Gates in 2008 at an NIH workshop. Again, these guys know each other. They're connected. How does Fauci feel about getting $100 million from Bill Gates? What do you think that does to his perception of reality? What do you think that does in his decision making? Did you know that Gates and the World Health Organization, which is under the umbrella of the UN, are also tied together? Gates contributes to the World Health Organization. Gates and Fauci are behind the shutdown of America. And now Fauci, as you saw, has turned on Trump and said he could have done more. You remember, did you hear that? And then Trump came right back and said, no, that's not true. He came out this week in a press conference and noted that he was very proactive and shut down planes coming from China, if you recall. Let me show you another connection. Did you know that Bill Gates' father has been connected to George Soros, David Rockefeller, and Anthony Fauci? Look at this picture. You'll see them all together in this picture. Fauci and fellow coronavirus response team member Deborah Birx are famous now after being on stage almost daily with President Trump, all updating us on the governmental actions of the coronavirus. However, they are tied to the leftist and globalist elite friends, including Bill Gates, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton. All these people are globalists. Look at them. So what are Bill Gates, Dr. Fauci, the World Health Organization, and the CDC planning? What are they up to? Well, if you go to nationalfile.com, they have an interesting article there, and they have a lot of links to all that they're saying. Interesting enough, Gates has put a lot of interest in the medical world and a lot of money into the medical world. I talked about this connection between him and Fauci. But he has dumped a lot of money. He's up to something. And anyway, you can see the influence of Gates on Fauci when he originally took the Bill Gates line in supporting vaccines and casting doubt on chloroquine. And now he's changed on that, but that was his original stance. And that's Bill Gates' stance, right? That's why, there was so much opposition against that drug being used to help coronavirus patients. Well, coronavirus response team member Deborah Birx appointed by former President Obama to serve as the United States Global AIDS Coordination, also sits on the board of a group that has received billions from Bill Gates' foundation. And Birx reportedly used a disputed Bill Gates funded model for the White House coronavirus effort. That's the model that shut down our economy. Gates is a big proponent, we've got to remember, of eugenics and population lockdown scenario. That's why we're in lockdown. It's coming from these global elites like Gates, who wants lockdown to prevent the coronavirus outbreak. By the way, other countries are not doing a lockdown. South Korea, Japan are not doing lockdowns. They didn't shut down their economy.